Hello everybody, welcome to TraderMerlin Show. It is your Tuesday edition. Welcome everybody. I see we got some new people out here today. Saket Indra, welcome to the show. Again, if you're new, I see we got a couple new names out there. If you are new, hit that subscribe button and hit like later if you like it. If you don't like it, you can always email me. Of course, the way to email me questions, comments, feedback, whatever, is TraderMerlin@gmail.com. It's on the screen right now, so let's get things started. All right, I'm going to just jump right into it. And again, normally I give a shout out to everybody, but we got the regulars here, so welcome. And Rob, I might do VR. I will let everybody know. Made a major capital investment. I bought some very high-end cameras. I bought a whole bunch of new lights, and I'm redoing a studio upstairs in my house. So I'm kind of redoing a whole room, and hopefully I'll be able to have a much better looking broadcast. So if there's something you guys want to see, do, whatever, let me know. I don't know if I can go VR, Rob. I don't know if I can do the 360 degree view of my house. I don't know if you really want to see the 360 view right now. It's not the most appealing. Anyway, that's a new one. So hopefully, hey BX, welcome. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All new subscribers are always great. So let's kick things off. Obviously, Brennan just says here the fear trade will unwind next week after a quadruple witching and the Fed BS. We'll see. I don't know if it's necessarily going to unwind, but I think it would behoove us to look out for what's going on in our market. So I tried to do a little off to the races type of graphic for today. Broad market analysis will be the topic du jour. Plus, got about 10 different questions come in already, which is great. I did off to the races because, as you guys know, the FOMC meeting started today. Although nothing usually happens on a Tuesday, it's Wednesday that really matters. So that's where we started. Now, I will start things off by looking at the rate that happened today. So, of course, on Friday, we had that CPI number, which CPI was, they were expecting it to drop to from 6.2. They thought it would maybe go to 6.7. We came out at 6.8, which is a little bit higher than expected. And then now all eyes were on PPI, Producer Price Index. So if consumer prices went up by X amount, in theory, we should see a similar jump in PPI. What did we get today? Ooh, not so good. They were expecting it to actually decline. So they were expecting CPI numbers to rise slightly, but nowhere near like this. So they went from 0.6. They're expecting PPI to go to, uh-oh, did you lose me? Are we still, uh-oh. Why am I, it says, please try again later. Hold on one sec. I'm just making sure I can, one second. I don't see my playbacks, and then people said I lost them, so just making sure I'm still there. That's weird. I shouldn't be having any glitches like this, but you never know. Okay, there you go. I'm good. It's just my player. I have a little preview screen that I can watch. All right, let me keep going. So that PPI, they were expecting it to drop from 0.6, as you can see up here, to 0.5, which would be good. We came out at 0.8, which is really 30% higher than the previous number. Not good with regards to Producer Price Index, because in theory, this would ultimately be passed on to, if you get an error, refresh the page. That's kind of weird. Oh, maybe Siraj. Yeah, you're right. We are in Southern California, and there is a major storm going on. So maybe my stream right now says excellent, says everything's going good. So, all right, so that's the real starter. And again, that's the piece I think has everybody kind of quaking their boots a little bit. Of course, we mentioned on yesterday's show, the general consensus is a week like this, where you have such a major emphasis on the Fed, it's going to be very volatile. So we'll just ride it out. I only made 2 trades today. And again, both of those were selling puts. I sold, actually, believe it or not, I sold weekly puts today on the triple Qs expiring on Friday, which is kind of a gutsy move, but it ended up being about half of a percent rate of return for 3 days worth of trading. I thought, well, that's worth it, and it was far enough out. I think I sold on the triple Qs, I'm at 371. I also sold technology, so I did sell January on XLK down at 150, which actually had another great rate of return. Walter, great question. Which one is more relevant, PPI or core PPI? The industry will have you believe that core is more significant. So we look at this page over here. I don't know. My feed's actually showing no issues. I'm doing no data loss now, so I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe the way we're connecting to Google. So you see the 2 numbers here. Again, core, what that simply means, they take out food and energy, which are historically the most volatile 2 components of that index. When you can see that when we take out food and energy, that means that the core metrics are rising as well. Actually, maybe even faster. We increased 0.3% for core and only 0.2% for the regular PPI, which has food and energy. Kind of weird to see that. Normally it's the other way around, that PPI has the more volatile swings, but it's interesting when you add in food and energy, it actually smooths it out a little bit. So I don't personally think that one is more important than the other. It's just kind of important to look at what's the components of each one and know that core takes out food and energy. Right now, I think it seems to me that food and energy are the most volatile ones, which is normal. And I would expect that the PPI would have risen more than it did based off those. So kind of a strange one to me. Merlin, do fundamentals matter anymore versus the Fed balance sheet? It's not that they don't matter. And I think this is part of the point I made yesterday. It's not that there's this belief that the Fed will win no matter what. And I talked about it yesterday where I said, look, I think somebody asked, when will this stop? If the Fed sees bad economic data and people freak out, they do some stimulus or quantitative easing and juice the system and we go higher. And that all works until it doesn't. And we're getting to that point where they can no longer fuel the system anymore, because if they keep pumping fuel in, inflation will continue to spike. If inflation spikes, then all of a sudden, sales drop, consumption drops, you see unemployment start to happen, and this vicious cycle comes in if inflation gets out of hand. So they finally, after 12 years, backed themselves into a corner, in my opinion. Okay? So that's what I think. Uh-oh. Yeah, we will survive, Tom. Actually, I think they expected 1.5 inches, and I don't know. I put a bucket out every time we have a rainstorm to see exactly how much rain we got. Anyway, I do think that the Fed has almost infinite power, but at a certain point, they'll back themselves into a corner, and that's where we're at. So, or we're getting there. We're putting themselves in that corner. Nobody puts baby in a corner. All right, so let me go into more listener questions. I'm trying to steer this whole thing to listener questions today, and we'll look, obviously, from the broad picture, the macros, and I'll run through the top 7 markets here in just a second. Ron says, I loved your inflation special video. Quick question, how will all of this impact financial stocks? Okay, so maybe you have a position in some financial stocks. I thought maybe just for fun, I would share this link with you. If you didn't see it, this is something they asked me to what my thoughts are on inflation. And so I made this little video up. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's an 11-minute piece, so I probably want to watch it after. And again, most of you who are watching the show regularly, you know most of it, because it's kind of it's my talk track. It's what I see and what I believe in the markets. So Ron says, how will all this impact financial stocks? Well, let me ask you guys out there, since you're always so interactive, and I love the interactivity. If we start to see interest rates rise, do banks make more money or do they make less money? That's the simple thing we got to look at, because you have to look at the roadmap for the future. And the roadmap for the future right now is saying we're probably going to have higher rates. If I had to bet, you put the proverbial gun to my head and say, you have to pick, rates are going higher or they're going lower, I'm picking higher. Actually, you don't need to put a gun to my head. I would just tell you that outright. So if we do see rates increase, the question is, are banks going to make more money? Remember, their main job is to take our money and lend out. So, as Brendan says, XLF going higher. Again, I want to know why, Brendan. Why would XLF go higher? And I see Batista says more, Rob says more. Yeah, generally, when you have rates as low as they have been, how much can they lend out? Right? What's their markup going to be? There's not a lot of markup there. But when rates start to rise, there's a little bit more flexibility and spread with those rates, and it allows the banks to earn more money. As David says, lots more. Yeah, it's definitely more money. So just as that one piece of data, how does that impact the financial stocks? Well, I think it's going to be a rather good thing for financial stocks. Now, I think we're also at I don't know if the precipice is the right word, but as this crypto industry grows, I think what you're going to see are people like me, people like Brendan, and maybe some of the others here who have historically maybe kept a bunch of money in our savings and checking because that's what we're told to do, keep an emergency rainy day fund. I think a lot more people are going to start looking at keeping alternative investments and becoming their own bank. That's what I'm really, my goal is for 2022, is to really remove myself almost entirely from banks. Now, I'll still have one because I use the banks as a facilitator to make all my payments. So I put deposit into one account, and then I have my utilities, mortgages if I can, anything that I can link to either a credit card, which is paid by that bank account, or link directly to the bank account. So that's my goal, is to unbank myself from a bank and be my own bank. So if that's the case, I think that's another shift that we have to take into consideration. Because if everything remains even and we are the normal happy Americans and we keep our money in a bank and rates rise, XLF should go up and it should do well. But if people are pulling their money out and buying other things, buying Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, that has less assets for the banks to lend out, and that fractional reserve lending system starts to diminish, meaning that the distribution of capital won't be as good. So those are a couple. I'm almost there, Brendan. I'm pretty close to 95. I have one bank account that I really use, and it's just to pay bills, and I'm trying to minimize that as well. I'm hoping to find an online version of, or a decentralized marketplace that does the same thing, and then I'll say goodbye to my Chase and my Wells Fargo accounts. Gone. Thank you, David. I appreciate that you like that video. Let's see. Rob says, I bought silver today. What's your thoughts on the chart? Double bottom, or will SLV go lower? Great question. It was funny because today as I was selling some puts, I was actually looking at SLV, and to me it looks like you're going to double bottom around 20. I was going to sell the 20 puts just expiring on Friday, but there was like just almost no money in it, so it wasn't worth it. You know, again, I've talked about this for the past few weeks, is I am definitely bullish on silver. I hold a sizable position of silver, and you know, it's just not performing the way I thought it would. I still have faith in silver. I think as a commodity, look, silver and gold, if you're going to hold it long term, are going to do fine. It's just kind of odd that it's moving in this manner. So yeah, I think that 20 is kind of that, I'm not going to say a line in the sand, but 20 certainly is a point where I'm expecting it to have a bounce. We'll see what happens once it gets there. I may actually, if it gets to 20, buy some calls, but I'll let you guys know when that happens and how I decide to execute that on SLV. Long term, I'm still bullish. Even though you look at this price chart, let's go on a weekly here. Here's SLV. You know, that is, why does this chart look so weird? Hold on. There we go. You know, it doesn't look great. It really looks like it's just flat or almost a descending triangle. At least we go back into February, lower highs, lower lows. But you know, I think this is different than looking at a corporation where, you know, it's run by somebody like Elon Musk or Bill Gates. You know, you don't have the people involved necessarily. It's a commodity. Now, again, since we're there, may as well check out GLD, and gold on the day down about 1%. You know, this looks worse. It just looks like it's like someone dropped the pond, the pebble in the pond back in March of 2020. Big up, big down, and now we're just seeing smaller little waves of compression. I'm not that excited about gold right now. I hate to say it. I do own gold, but actually physical gold, not any ETFs or anything like that. So on its face value, gold looks boring to me. I am more bullish on silver just because I'm holding SLV, and I like silver for the long haul. All right, what else do I got? Stock market is falling when I go the Zimbabwe curve. you think we're gonna go that parabolic? I don't know if we'll go that parabolic. All right, let's see. Can you buy Teslas with Doge now? No. No, you can buy... Okay, so let me go into that one here. So let me just real quickly finish up with this question. I'll get to that one, Margaret. That's a good one. So, Ron, how is it going to impact financial stocks? You know, one thing that I always like to do is I like to look at relative strength in comparison. So if you are looking at broad market and you're saying, I just would like to buy into financials, great. Then just market time and buy XLF. And as we can see here... Here is XLF, right? XLF looking great. I mean, it looks like most of the major market indexes, which is just strong and bullish. Now, granted, the last month and a half has not been great for financials. We've seen that much weaker than most of the sectors. If you have, if you're holding, let's say XLF, if you're holding some of the other sectors like technology, XLK has also had a pretty big dump just in the last day. But, you know, look how strong technology. It's been pushing this whole thing to the upside. You can look at something like XLE, right? It's still holding its own, whereas XLF seems to have gotten a bit weaker here. I think that certainly has a lot to do with the inflation talk. But, you know, all in all, it's still on a beautiful trend to the upside. So stay long on financials. Now, from that comparison perspective, what I would do is I would use something like this, which is from stockcharts.com, free resource for you guys. And I just put the SPY and XLF. So I'm looking at the broad market, the overall sector, which is XLF, and then I threw in like 5 different symbols. I got Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, Goldman, Bank of America, and Jpmorgan. And you can see pretty much everything is up, right? Our weakest one here, which is down near the bottom, is the S&P 500. If you go back the past 371 days, and it's actually what's nice is you can, at the bottom here, you can adjust how long you want to look at it. So I was just going to go for the past year. So I'm doing right around 365. There you go, 371. So the S&P up 57% in the last 371 days. Awesome. Up the peak here, we have Morgan Stanley's up 122%. Looking great. But what's noteworthy here, and I'm hoping you guys can see on the hard red edge, do you notice how all the bank stocks they really started dropping back here in October of this year? And that's when the slide started, whereas the S&P is still making higher highs. So it seems to be there's a rotation of assets out of financials right now. Even though you think that they're going to benefit from a rising rate environment, money is flowing out of them faster than some of the other sectors. I could have put Citibank in here. We could have put that one in there. But you can put, I was just trying to do it as a broad representation. But again, if you want to, you can put any symbols you want in here, really. I think it's a great resource just to see how well they're performing. Now, for me right now, if I was looking at any one to short in here, it's probably going to be Bank of America. You just look at it was one of the leaders, and now all of a sudden it seems like its descent has been more aggressive than any of the others. So Bank of America and Jpmorgan. Now that's just looking at a price percentage chart. Again, this is saying how have they performed against each other. I can go out here into BAC and all right. So at this point, still a big uptrend. I still would be biased to the long side for Bank of America, and I don't see any real great spots to look at getting short here on Bank of America. And the only reason I'm saying that is because if the whole market rolls over and financials are already headed down, then this might actually roll down even faster. So, and then the other one was, what do we say, Jpmorgan? I forgot what that little, yeah, it was Jpmorgan Chase. So let's check out JPM. Long term, still same picture. Nice, slow uptrend, right? Higher highs, higher lows. But it looks a little bit weaker than Bank of America. I think you actually have a better opportunity to go short. We've actually have a triple bottom right now on JP Morgan, where it's just been hammering against this low at 157.33, right in that ballpark. So I actually like this one better as a potential short, for something like tomorrow, which I won't be trading till, if I do, it'll be late in the afternoon after the announcement. I don't like to jump the gun there. But this might be an interesting play for tomorrow if you get down below those levels. So there you go. Let's see. OG, what'd you say? If spot ever hits 17, let's see. I saw Margaret posting there 17 would be a buy point for her as well. Yeah, this is the challenging part with silver is look at these unfilled gaps. You have a lot of unfilled gaps. 17 to me would be a bit low. I think you have a nice gap fill. I'm not sure why. Oh, okay, I see. Right around 1970 is a good gap fill. We've almost filled it already to this low that we saw back here on September 30th. But then you have this much bigger gap that goes all the way down to 1850. That would probably, if it does break below that 1975 mark, I could see it definitely getting to 1850. But yeah, or just does whatever the hell Wells Fargo does. They're just such a mess. Bank exec bonuses are, oh wow, really? I'm in the wrong field because these bank execs just make way too much damn money. It's crazy. Yes, banks always win. In some way, they're going to win. All right. So that was that part. And now, somebody sent this one in. This is from Dave. Again, Musk tweets to boost cryptos. I don't know if he's necessarily saying he's going to boost cryptos by it, but remember, you now have somebody who's got a vested interest. And I think one of the beautiful things about Elon Musk, some of you might hate him. I'm kind of middle of the road. I think he's kind of a doofus, but he's doing some brilliant things. And right now, when you're that rich, you can pretty much give the middle finger to anybody you want. I think he just doesn't care. I think he realizes that cryptos threaten established governments and financial institutions. I think that if you listen to the interview he did, he was in the Wall Street Journal doing an interview, or he was interviewed by the Wall Street Journal in front of a bunch of CEOs, which was a brilliant interview. And he basically says the infrastructure bill, they shouldn't do it. They should remove all government perks for companies that he was receiving back in the day, no longer. So, I think he's fed up with government. So it wouldn't surprise me for him to continue to pump crypto because it presents an alternative to established financial systems which threaten banks and ultimately governments. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. What was the comment that someone made by Elon Musk? Shoot, where was it? You guys have been chatting a lot. It's been going good. Well, the more active chat sessions I've had in quite some time on here. Where was that Elon Musk one? So now you can buy Teslas. Okay, so Margaret says, so now you can buy Teslas with Doge. I don't think he opened it up to buying cars. It was to buy merch I'll have to verify that, but I think it's not for cars yet. Who knows? I haven't researched. I saw the comment today, and something I saw said it wasn't for merch, or it wasn't for vehicles, it was for merch. Either way, he's just pumping Doge. And of course, you look at what happened with Doge today. At one point, it was up over 25%. So where's my Doge? Let me go alphabetical here. There's your Doge, up 19% right now. But still, he hasn't tweeted about it in quite some time. And look what it's done. It just kind of fizzled out. This is what's going to continue to happen going forward, I think, with Dogecoin. I mean, I'm in some people on Twitter keep going back and forth with me thinking that this thing's going to go to, Shiba Inu is going to go to $1. I'm like, no. It's going to follow the same path as Doge. I mean, this looks just like the chart of Nikola, NKLA. Remember we talked about Nikola way back here? Does this not look exactly the same as Doge? Huge spike, and everyone's like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. And wah, wah. And pretty soon people came out, and this whole thing was a scam. Not a whole thing, but there was a scam aspect to it. That chart of Nikola looks just like my Shiba Inu chart. Excuse me, where's Shibu again? That's pretty funny. That spike up and this big traverse down look almost the same. Love it. Thanks, Kenny. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't for the vehicles, but at some point I think they will. I think they absolutely will be. Tequila is sold out. Can interest you? Yeah, isn't it interesting that whatever he puts his name on sells out instantly? So Tesla Tequila, what was it? He had a flamethrower that he made, and I actually know a friend who bought one. But I mean, those things were sold out like that. That guy could literally take my German Shepherd dog poop, wrap it up with a bow, call it a Tesla, and bam, that thing will sell for $500 a turd. I've never driven a Lambo, Jay. I have zero interest in Lambo. I mean, look at me. I'm wearing flannel shirts, and I can barely even do my hair. You think I care about fashion and being materialistic? I told you, somebody once showed me a picture of the Tesla Roadster, and it was like $250,000. And they said, man, what would you do? It was a Twitter or Facebook thing. So what would you do? Where would you drive this if you got this Tesla Roadster? And I said, I would drive it immediately to CarMax. I'd sell it for $200,000. Of course, I'd give away $50,000 because I'm selling it used. I'd sell it for $200,000. I'd buy myself a 2020, right now, I buy a 2022 Toyota Tundra 4x4 double cab pickup with the full off-road pro package, and I would modify that to fit my personal needs. Maybe throw a camper shell for the dogs on it, and that's it. I'm a truck guy, man. Give me a truck. Oh, yeah, look at Hood. Oh, man. I have not looked at Hood in a while. Oh, Lordy. Oh, man. At some point, this is where I wish I had an assistant, because I would love to have an assistant come back and because there's been a lot of times I've been wrong on this program. No question about it. But do you guys remember when I did a show, I think it was back in here somewhere in August, where we were talking about if the SEC removes the payment for order flow that Robinhood has done. And I also did a show 2 years ago talking about how Robinhood trades are not free. You guys might remember that. We said it's going to go much lower. Didn't think we'd be down in the $19 mark, but hey, at some point Robinhood will probably be a good buy. Wow. This is not the same shirt from yesterday, Rick. Leave me alone. Why's everybody always picking on me? Did he troll Elizabeth? I don't know. He's great. Yeah, liquidity is way better than Lambo. Plus, I don't know. I mean, Lambo's really fast and all. I'd rather be the guy who's I'm the guy that goes out and tries to be inconspicuous and kind of just blend in. It's funny. I went to Thailand with a friend of mine. This is 2004, year of the tsunami. Kind of hard to believe it's been that long. Man, 18 years ago. But we went with this one couple, and she was just like gold and bling, and we were like, listen, you got to take all that crap off. You're making us a target. I'm not wearing any jewelry. I wear raggedy clothes. Who cares? Let's see. TradeStation doesn't have any shares to short on Hood. No surprise, right? Remember, when it's something that you want, you can't get it. That's a bad sign. Honestly, that's something you should probably look at moving away from TradeStation. TradeStation has historically been very limiting on what you can short. That's not because I personally have a gripe with them right now. That has been historically, as a trader, even things that are liquid. I mean, Hood is somewhat liquid. It's still, they're not allow you to short these things. That's not a good sign. But man, what a beautiful chart. That is great. Bye-bye, Robin Hood. Okay, what else? Oh, by the way, you saw that Elon Musk as well sold another million shares. I mean, he's been unloading his Tesla shares. And what I think is happening is he's actually going to be buying into crypto. I think that personally he is going to get involved. I think he's actually going to start getting involved with different projects, and that's what you want to be a hold of. Who cares if it's Solana or Avalanche or Luna? If Elon Musk goes in and says, hey, you know what? I'm running Dogecoin now. I'm going to be the team that's running the committee. That thing's going to soar to the moon. I always say that there's no way that Shiba Inu could ever get to $1. Tell you what, if Tesla, if Elon Musk says that he's going to take over Shiba Inu and be the director of it, oh man. But of course, it defeats the whole purpose, right? Because cryptocurrencies, in theory, should be decentralized and not have a controlling figure. All right, let me get through these questions and I'll answer yours. This one is a good one too. Greg says, wow, Nike getting into the metaverse is getting serious. Yeah. It's not that I care so much about Nike getting into it. They bought a virtual reality shoe company called RTFKT, and obviously not publicly traded. And what was interesting about this is they're virtual tennis shoes, or they're virtual shoes. And I mean, these things are going for $10,000 a pair. Like, I'm not even going to spend $200 for a pair of tennis shoes. Maybe $100 is kind of getting to my upper limit for tennis shoes. And these people are spending tens of thousands of dollars for these virtual shoes, and Nike bought that company today. Kind of interesting because as you look out in things like the Sandbox or Decentraland or Star Atlas, you know, you're going to see more and more companies not only try to buy real estate in these games, which they're doing in Decentraland and the Sandbox, but also using those platforms from a marketing perspective and having virtual businesses inside of these games where you can go and buy not only virtual NFT shoes that you could wear on your character, but also go in there and buy physically right there in the game using your NFT or using your cryptocurrency. So for example, in Sandbox, I could go over to, let's say, the Adidas store and go through and check out their stores and with my VR headset on for Rob out there. And if I found a pair I liked, so give me a size 7, I pay with my Sand tokens because that's what's going to be used in the Sandbox or Mana for Decentraland. And those will be sent to my house through my account. Kind of cool. Very, very cool. Man, I could go on so much deeper in that topic. Brendan and his hate of Cardano. I love it. He's also unloaded to avoid the higher tax rate. Yep, exactly. And I have no fault for him for unloading that stuff. Why not do it now when I can get more money for my money as opposed to waiting and paying a lot more in taxes? I think it's pretty awesome. Good for him. I'm still not on the NFT train. I still think it's doesn't make sense to me. I used to collect baseball cards, so I understand the concept of NFTs. I understand why they're interesting, but not my thing. I think that there's going to be NFT products down the road that I will be interested in, different art, different music, collectibles, etc. But knowing that the way that these things are priced, it doesn't make sense right now. All right, let's see what else I got. Another interesting one. What are your thoughts on Harley Davidson and electric motorcycles? Well, I'll tell you what, if people can't kill themselves fast enough on regular motorcycles, let's strap them to a motor that's even faster acceleration. 0 to 60 miles an hour in 1.3 seconds just isn't fast enough. Right? I'm expecting to see like a Harley Davidson commercial where the guy's at the starting line at a race and he's got his arms extended and he's can't even do that. You just go, there's no sound, right? Just, and that light turns green and he hits that throttle and his arms just rip out of his socket and his body flies off the motorcycle, right? It's how fast do you need to go? Anyway, sorry. I actually love it. I think I actually pulled up Live Wire. It's not going to be Harley Davidson electric motorcycles. They are completely separate brands. So Harley Davidson started a thing called Live Wire, which is this right here. And, it's a pretty cool looking bike. It looks like a Ducati, little short little firefighter type thing, fighter pilot plane. I can't get my words straight today, but that's it. I think they're pretty cool. I am an old classic vintage motorcycle guy. I don't really know if I would get one, but I think that they're pretty cool. If given the opportunity, I would definitely check one out. But what does this mean for things like Harley Davidson? I think it's smart not only the way they're doing it, because if they kept under the Harley label, you're going to get haters and bashers of Harley Davidson. But now they go out there and create a whole line of electric bikes. It's coming. I actually would rather have personally an electric bike than a Tesla. I do love the motorcycle freedom, and I think they're great. You just got to be really careful. These things are dangerous as hell. A dirt bike would be cool, but no Harley, no hog. There won't be any hog, Margaret. This Live Wire, just so you guys know, if you were interested in it, Livewire is going to be doing a SPAC, and now you guys know how I feel about SPAC. It's going to be under, I think it's IMPX is the name of it. Yeah, it's the AEA Bridges Impact Corporation, and this is it. So you can see that they were really doing nothing. They jumped on this announcement that Harley Davidson is now doing a SPAC with Livewire. So Harley Davidson spun off Livewire. They are now going to have Livewire go through a SPAC to get to market quicker and more public. HD in electric is not American. You want the loud rumbling. I wonder, I actually wanted to go check it out because, one of the things that I'm sure we have some Harley Davidson people in here, but it's this classic machismo thing where you can just sit at a stoplight, and really you just have to sit at the stoplight, right? But you always get these guys who are going, whom, whum, and it's so loud that your windows are shattering, and you just look over and you're like, if I could, I would run you off the road for just being annoying with your gas throttle right now. But no. How are you going to do it on a silent bike? There's a little button that you can change what the engine sounds like, the little speaker to broadcast out your throttle, because you don't make any sound, but you can sure as hell go fast. Oh, man, 120 mile an hour, jeez. That's crazy, Todd. It's way too dangerous, me, but what do we got? Lisa says, my days of owning a Vapware are over. Too many distractions, yeah. Nowadays with these people on their cell phones all the time, it freaks me out. It freaks me out just driving a car sometimes. I mean, I was driving straight, and this lady almost she came right into my lane, and luckily I had some space to move over. But yeah, people just not paying attention anyway. Just by the sound effects package. There you go. That's the upgrade, David. I love it. One more, and I get to, what time is it? Oh, crikey, man, time flies here. One more. This is from Jeremy. I've been watching the USD Cad spot pair. It appears to be the strongest pair right now. Can you give me an example of how you trade it? Okay. A noise augmenter. Right. Give me the voice box for my motorcycle. All right. Here's the USD Cad. And real quickly, since you made that statement, let's just real quickly look at some of the other currencies before we go into the other markets. Here is the USD Cad, and you think. In my opinion, this is a classic turnaround, right? You had this long downtrend. I mean, if you guys asked me what to do here, short the rallies, right? And you would have done well because it bounced up and then sold off. But all of a sudden, the second dip made it right back to those highs. So now you have a higher low. So you have what's called really, some would call this a cup and a handle pattern. That one looks strong. So before I say what I think about, let's look at the others. Here's the Aussie USD. Aussie obviously bounced off of this low that we established back here. Great. That was what, 2 weeks ago. It bounced off that low. I'm still thinking you short the Aussie just because of the trend is your friend. The Euro, same picture, right? We actually did a Monday morning must knows before this drop down below this, and great move, impulse, because the dollar has been showing such strength. It was nice. See you, Lisa. Have a great day. Nice to see that. Right now, it's for me just a wait. I'm still bearish on the Euro, but look at the chart pattern. You've got 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks of just sideways chop, so I would just wait on that one. British pound, more of a better looking formation than the Euro, even though it's still down. It's got a small little hesitation right here. I would put a line across the lows at 131.66. If it breaks that, you're back to a continued downtrend here of that one. What else do I have? Swiss franc. You can see there, it's nice uptrend, but no real clear entry or exit points. Japanese yen, blech. Even though it's trending up, I don't see any real clear buy points. If you're aggressive, maybe you'd put a line right across these most recent highs and jump in right as it breaks above 113 or 95 or maybe 114. Now, last one is that USD Cad. So how'd you trade it? This is actually fairly tricky, even though it looks like it would be easy. And why do I say that? Well, let me remove some lines here on this USD CAD just so we can paint a clearer picture. Right? For me, the line that's important right now is really where it's at. And it has to do with most points of contact. So you can see 2 weeks ago, we hit this high right here at, it was a high of 1.2854. But we've broken that. So it doesn't feel like if there was supply here that it's a major issue anymore, right? It feels like if there is anything going on. All right, thanks, Electro Marson. You just got yourself banned. Beat it. And let's see, hide user. Just such weird how people come in there and spam. It's funny because I go into a lot of rooms and chats and listen to people, and I'm surprised that the people giving the presentations don't just remove people. But Electro Marcin, the later dude. So that's pretty much it for me. I guess the question would be, is your break point there, or is it up here? Right, where you can see it's had this double tap. And that really is a matter of personal preference and how you choose to make the entry. If you're aggressive, I think you're pretty much there right now. You know, are you at the ceiling or do we break it? Well, I think we broke it if we look at this 128.57 mark, right? I think we're right there. So, yeah, I agree with you, Jeremy. I like it. I would buy on the break. If you are a short-term trader, buy on the break. If you're a longer-term trader, I would buy on the close of that bar, whatever time frame you're making your trade off of. So this is the daily. I'd wait for the close above that line and call it a day. Let's see. No doubt. I see people driving looking. Oh, okay. Just validating the point. Yeah. Let's see. That's true, Jay. Those pipes probably do save lives. And again, you know, I'm guilty of it. Like when I'm splitting lanes, and in California you can split lanes. Of course, I only do split lanes of stopped vehicles, not when something's moving. But yeah, I like to have a little bit of some sound coming out of my bike as I'm making that, just so people know I'm there. Otherwise, you have to hit your horn like me, 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 me. Nah, just give me a little rumble, and I'll make my way through. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Let me show you what's cooking for tomorrow. If you guys have any last-minute questions, send those on in, as I got to get ready for my crypto class this evening. Tomorrow is a monster day, as we all know, right? Obviously, the number one thing we're paying attention to is going to be the FOMC meeting. It's not necessarily the meeting itself, it's the press conference afterwards. So let me show you the full rundown, the gamut, if you will, of what's happening tomorrow. As you can see, I had to split them up because there's so much to talk about. The main U.S. stuff, boy, it's big. Here's your early bird stuff. So you have retail sales and Empire State Manufacturing Index. That's going to be happening before market opens. You also have business inventories, crude oil inventories, NAHB Housing Market Index. The U.S. has a monster run of info tomorrow. And look at the retail sales expectations. They're looking at it dropping by 50% over month. Not good. If this disappoints, and again, that could be reflection. Remember, if inflation numbers are in fact that high, it starts to raise the price points of goods and services. And if goods and services aren't selling, that could be reflected in prices are too high and consumers aren't buying at those prices. I think John O'Donnell was on the program the other day. He said, what's the cure for a high price? A higher price, right? So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Really, the big announcement is going to happen over here on the right side, which is FOMC economic projections, their rate statement. Right now, expectations are we're going to stay right where we were at. If they raise rates, that'll be a massive shock to the system. I do not think that will happen. I can pretty much guarantee that's not going to happen. It'll happen next year, probably 2 or 3 times. But that's happening tomorrow. The press conference, which actually happens 30 minutes after, is the most important piece, that FOMC press conference. And then you also have TIC long-term purchases. If you're trading international markets, our neighbors to the north here, we've got David and Brendan with us. You have housing starts for Canada, CPI numbers as well. And they're expecting, surprisingly, a big drop in inflationary pressure tomorrow for Canada. Watch crypto be much higher 6 months out. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. You know, as we know, it really is it's a very trendy type of asset. So it'll have 3, 6, 8 months of just nothing but down, and all of a sudden it just skyrockets and has unbelievable moves to the upside. That's just the nature of cryptocurrencies overall. So you'll have to wait and see. I'm still holding mine. I'm actually buying more. Mark says, how do you know if those numbers are manipulated or not? Go into it assuming that they're manipulated. And again, I've actually had, I interviewed a guy from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is 10 years ago on Power Trading Radio. And we asked him that. And it was a friend of John O'Donnell. So John's always being very polite question. I said, let me ask you a question. Do you guys fudge the data? You know, because sometimes I just don't trust it. And he goes, yes, we do. He didn't pause. He didn't hesitate. He was just like, yes, we do. And I was shocked he would admit it. He used to work for them. He no longer works for them, so I guess he can say it. I don't trust any of the data that comes out. But remember, there's expectations that are built around those data sets. So when you look at this calendar here, there's people who have built a plan based off the expectation that retail sales in the United States is going to go from 1.7% to 0.9%. If we come out at 1.2%, that's a huge improvement, and that would be a positive for the market, maybe put less pressure on the Fed from a raising rate environment perspective. If all of a sudden we get retail sales numbers come out and went from 1.7 to, let's say, 0.2, that's a doo-doo hit the fan. We're in trouble. You know, now all of a sudden that could put extra pressure on the FOMC to be raising rates to help slow down inflation. So again, I don't trust that data. It's a great point, Mark. I don't trust it at all. But I do look at it and to try to set the tone for how is the retail population going to respond to that data when it does come out. Now, again, I am not trading these announcements when they happen, especially the FOMC meeting tomorrow. I will not be trading at that moment in time. I'll be watching it. If I have the opportunity, I might make some trades after that once the dust settles and you can get some clearer trends. All right. Whew, I'm winded. Does today's gap down candle on XLK opening and the closing in the middle have a name? It does not. It was funny because I looked at that because we were talking about Apple, right? We talked about Apple having a dark cloud cover yesterday. Well, it actually completed it today. So basically once it comes back up and then down like that, that's the dark cloud cover. We looked at QQQ having an engulfing pattern yesterday, right? And no. So the gap down here, it's just no known. You know what? Honestly, there probably is a name for this, but it's not significant. It's not important. Let's see. Yahoo Finance had a glitch showing. Yeah, I know. It's funny. A colleague emailed me right away. He's like, Bitcoin's down $30,000. I'm like, no. People use Yahoo are killing themselves trying to buy that. A nice little pop. PT. I don't know what's happening with Kaba. I have not looked at Kaba, so I don't know. But I will check it out. Cabaletta Bio. Oh, biotech. That's it. Price target of 15 by Morgan Stanley. It dropped to $3. Oh, here's a major thing, PT. Never listen to a price target from an analyst, right? That's like getting birth control advice from a prostitute, right? It's just not going to happen. You're never going to get a satisfactory answer from a financial firm. When you see somebody like Jpmorgan or Morgan Stanley say, hey, $15 is our price target, what they're probably telling the market is they have a position and they need a patsy to unload it. So they do this thing where they issue an upgrade or they target a price much higher and say, hey, it's going to go to 15. So the retail investing public, the sheeple, they buy it thinking, oh, well, Morgan must know more than me. It's going to go to 15. And really, they're just looking for someone to unload to. I used to do this every single day when I came on the trading floor back in the late 90s, is I would listen to the upgrade downgrades or go to a site that showed the upgrade and downgrades where an analyst would say, well, it was $10 yesterday. Our target's 15. And it would jump to 15. And I would look at the level 2 screen where I could see the buyers and sellers with their name. And if it was Morgan Stanley, you'd see MSCO on the ask selling all day long. You're like, wait a minute, you just told people to buy it. Their argument? At $10 it was a buy. We said 15, it's at 15, we're selling, right? So that's the annoyance of these financial markets. What's going on with it? My guess is they probably missed some FDA approval. You don't drop 73% overnight, right? That's something happened here. This is probably a phase 3 or 2 drug approval miss. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not even looking at it. I'm looking at it. You guys aren't. You don't drop 73% overnight for no reason. So what's going to happen is Morgan Stanley is probably going to do what they can to remove the media pieces where they have called $15. Right now, they'll probably issue a downgrade after the fact. So sorry, PT, if you're in it, that one hurts. This is one of the reasons I do not trade biotechs or pharmaceuticals. This piece right here is 100% why. 73% drop against you in one day. And here's the thing. If you owned this Cabaletta Bio yesterday, it closed at, let me get you the exact closing price. It closed at $12.51. It opened up this morning, opened at $7.12. You're probably thinking, well, crap, I have to buy a bunch of this. What a deal. I owned it at $12.50. Now it's at $7. I'm loading the boat. You're bankrupt by the end of the day. Right? That's terrible. Terrible. All right. I think that's going to do it for me, guys. I got just so much work that I got to do and get ready for my class this evening. So, again, hope you liked it. I know we had some new people out there. Thank you for all the participation and questions and comments. If you have something you want me to cover for tomorrow, of course, as you can see, I can't even update my own stuff, right? Because it is not the 13th today. It's the 14th. There we go. Let's at least get it right for the outro slide. I will be doing a regular show for you guys Wednesday. I have a topic in mind, but if you want me to steer the conversation just like we did today, I got some great comments and questions from Jeremy, from Gary, from Greg, from Dave, Ron. Thank you guys so much for those comments. If you have something you want me to go over, go to TraderMerlin@gmail.com or email me at TraderMerlin@gmail.com. Send them on in there. Let me know whatever you want. Just talk to me, folks. Or post down with the whole YouTube video. That's probably better from a viewer and following perspective. But either way, I'll get in touch with you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.